Hi, it's Dwyer. GamblersAdvisory.com, a free site. BettingAngle.us, a free site. We're now less than a week away from the rematch between heavyweight champion Alexander Usyk and now challenger Tyson Fury. Let's give some week of the fight thoughts, but first remember, the opinion you should follow should be your own. Just consider this video to be a second opinion from a complete stranger online. Now let me make a point here, right? This really has been during a British era in heavyweight boxing, a one-man invasion of the United Kingdom. To think that a cruiserweight would come up and would be able to beat Derek Chisora, then pivot, beat Anthony Joshua twice, beat Daniel Dubois, right, by stoppage, and then knock down Tyson Fury wouldn't be believable a few years ago. But yet, that's exactly what happened. Right now, I like to give opinions no one's listening to in terms of the ring walk music that a fighter should enter to. Here I think it's clear cut what Usyk should enter the ring to. Understand, Usyk, the champion, comes in the ring last. The music he should enter the ring to has to be by the original artist. Not Eric Clapton, but Bob Marley. Let's go one step further. If he wants to come out with the best version, have the 1975 version of I Shot the Sheriff that was recorded live in London. Right, folks? This is the guy who can tell you I shot the sheriff, but I didn't kill the deputy. Right? Just understand, Usyk is, that wave that's just washing through the heavyweight division. It's ironic that at the time this rematch is taking place, Usyk, who won the undisputed heavyweight championship, right? The first time someone has done that since Lennox Lewis in an earlier era of British boxing. It's amazing that they've stripped him of one of the belts, and the guy who has that belt is a guy he's already beaten by stoppage. Right? So just understand, Usyk needs to walk in the ring to I Shot the Sheriff, in my opinion, the live version, right, from Bob Marley. Well, the rumor is that Tyson Fury's coming into this fight heavy. Right? According to some reports I've come across, who knows if they're accurate, but I'm going by them, there's quietly been a feud in Fury's camp. Right? His father believes that the best Tyson Fury is the mobile Tyson Fury. The version of Tyson Fury who beat Vladimir Klitschko. Right? Now, Sugar Hill, a disciple of Emanuel Stewart, right, has Tyson Fury loading up on shots. Right? The question for our purposes in this conversation, and leave your thoughts in the comment section, is number one, does this version of Tyson Fury at this age, years after the Vladimir Klitschko fight, does he still have the legs to actually be the old version of himself? In other words, can he go back to a mobile Tyson Fury, or is that a thing of the past? I've already said here online many times that they're two Alis. Right? The Ali of the 70s is not close, in my opinion, to the Ali of the 60s. By the time the 70s came about, Ali had lost his legs. right? Don't get me wrong. Guys with great legs can lose a little bit of their legs and still be better than most in boxing. But I have no question that the Ali who's jumping around the ring in the 60s beats the Ali who is lumbering around the ring in the 70s. Right now, the question is, has Tyson Fury decayed in terms of his legs? Right? There is a coordination gap in this fight. Usyk moves a lot better than Fury. Usyk looks like he's the better athlete than Fury. Usyk has the better stamina than Fury. Is that because Fury and Sugar Hill, his trainer, are pursuing the wrong strategy? Or is that because they really have no choice but to pursue the current strategy, which does not involve Fury jumping around the ring? Now, make no mistake, we all saw that Fury, Derek Chisora last fight. Fury looked magnificent. Chisora had a hard time getting inside. Chisora had an easier time getting inside against Alexander Usyk than he had against Tyson Fury. But you know Derek Chisora is going to come at you, don't you? Right? You know, isn't Usyk a bit more deceptive? Usyk's in front of you, but you're not quite sure what he's going to do. Plus, he's a southpaw. Right? Well, just understand, Fury's dad lost out to Sugar Hill. Right? The Tyson Fury who enters this fight is going to be focused. There are going to be less voices in his corner. Sugar Hill's voice is going to be the voice he hears. And he's going to be going for the knockout. Because, believe it or not, at the end of the day, Emanuel Stewart wanted knockout punchers. Right? Look at Stewart talking in the corner late in the Sultan Ibragimov fight to his fighter Vladimir Klitschko. Right? Klitschko's putting on a master class. He's up in the fight by several rounds. That wasn't enough for Emanuel Stewart. Stewart was upset. So let's talk about the line. The line moved. It's now Fury plus 140. Before it was Fury plus 150. In other words, the late money is breaking toward the former champion. He is, as I've said here, the betting side of the play for the rematch. Right? Look at the scoring for the first fight. He loses by 1 point on the third judge's card. Right? That's in a fight where he hits the canvas. Let me also say too, and I almost never say this, this is that rare fight, and I mean rare fight. We're looking at how close the first fight landed. I believe the 18-1 on the draw is something hedgers need to consider. If you have money on a side or a prop, hedge the play. Right? I mean, just understand. The first fight's a photo finish with a knockdown. Take away the knockdown, the first fight may have been scored a draw. Right? I don't like the idea of betting on draws myself. But here, where the guys are so close, I believe the 18-1 is worth throwing, a few cents on. Right? Just understand. If your main play blows up, and you're there cursing at the TV, and then you remember that you've just hit on the 18-1 draw, you're doing okay. Well, let's talk further here. So Fury, who isn't the better athlete in this fight, the odds are dropping on him. He's a plus 140. Let's talk about a prop here that's going to sound ridiculous, but understand, the same prop would have sounded ridiculous before the Deontay Wilder rematch. Right? It's Fury by stoppage. Now, let me say, I believe everyone should bet. Well, I'll tell you how I'm playing it. Fury simply to win pays me enough. I'll sleep at night with a plus 140. That's the current line. Right? To me, I can't believe you're getting this level of value on the Fury side of the play. Right? I have less problems taking Fury at a plus 140 than I do taking Usyk at a 4-6, right? Which is less than even money. The risk is too substantial. I'm looking to make money. I don't need to bet on every fight. You're telling me that I'm going to bet on a guy who's facing Tyson Fury, who's only lost once in his career, officially, right? To the John McDermott crowd regarding that first fight, I hear you, right? I hear you. But just understand, Fury's only lost officially once. And that was by 1 point on the third judge's card. Right? So, to me, the Usyk side of the play is actually the challenging side. Because you're not getting a return worthy of the risk. Right? Fury, make no mistake, he's a dominant fighter. Folks, he's a Hall of Famer today, whatever happens in this fight. Right? He got knocked down. I thought he was cruising after the early part of the fight. Many of you don't. Many of you had Usyk coming out of the gate fast. That's not the fight the judges saw. But enough people have said that they had Usyk winning the fight by several rounds that they were surprised when the scores were read in a fight that Fury thought he had won. Right? So just understand, this is that matchup where Fury doesn't trust the judges, right? He made some incredibly politically insensitive remarks after the fight where he said, look, it's only because this guy's country has been invaded by Russia that I lost this fight. Right? Words to that effect. Right? Usually Fury has more class than that. Usyk thought he had won the fight. Both guys were surprised by the scoring. Now, in that kind of high-risk environment where the fighters themselves aren't quite sure on the criteria that was used to score the fight, I think getting less than even money odds on any Tyson Fury opponent is a bit ridiculous. So here's what I think is going to happen, and it's unconventional. Right? Fury has never been stopped in his career. He's been down several times. Right? He's 1 second away from losing the first Deontay Wilder fight. He's just lucky the referee in that fight was Jack Reese and not the ref in the recent Jaime Munguia fight. Right, folks? Munguia gets off the canvas before the 10 count. Now, I agree, the fight should be stopped because Munguia looks shaky. Looks like he's been in a car crash. But the ref's waving it off as if Munguia didn't beat the count. Right? Just understand, if you're knocked down and you wait until the 8th or 9th second to get off the canvas, you could be counted out like George Foreman was in the Rumble in the Jungle by an overzealous referee. Well, that said, understand, neither Fury, who's never been stopped, or Usyk, who's never been stopped, have had a fight where they couldn't beat the count. Right? Folks, I believe in this rematch there's a distinct possibility that somebody gets stopped. I'm going to leave it up to you. We're now in an AI era where there are alt lines all over the place. I'm going to leave it up to you on how to structure that bet. But because these guys haven't been stopped before, because Usyk fought a rematch with Anthony Joshua and that rematch went the distance, right? You didn't get the feeling that Usyk had learned and was in the rematch to show us he had learned how to hurt Joshua. You didn't get that feeling, right? I believe the lines here are distorted. So let's talk about how distorted they are. Would it shock you to know that Fury, who has a height advantage, he has a reach advantage, right? He stopped Deontay Wilder in the second and third fight. He believes the judges cheated him against this opponent. I'm sure he realizes there's a coordination gap in the ring. I'm sure he realizes there's a stamina gap in the ring. Just understand that Tyson Fury, by stoppage, is going off at a 7-2. Folks, that's a 3.5 to 1. 3.5 to 1. Would it shock you to know that Usyk, who you're getting less than even money on, right? Usyk's the favorite. But yet, Usyk by stoppage. And didn't he knock the other man down in the first fight? In fact, revisit that first fight. Isn't he fighting two people in that round? He hurts Fury. I don't know if Fury was savvy. I don't know whether this was a vet move or pure luck. But Fury found a way to somehow get the referee between the two of them. Didn't it look that way to you? So Usyk had to get around the ref to hit Fury. Well, believe it or not, that Usyk, by stoppage, is 14-5. Right? So both of these guys, you're getting rich odds. Better than a plus 200. Right? For both, well better than a plus 200. For both guys to win by stoppage. Let me also make another point, and this will sound academic. It'll sound wonkish. It's not. Both of these guys are in their 30s. Right? I'm just telling you, if anybody is going to reach the conclusion, it's not my night, I don't want to get embarrassed in this fight, I don't have it, I can't beat this guy, it's going to be the vet who has been in the game a long time, who knows when he's outgunned. Right? It's not going to be the young guy who's convinced when he entered the ring he's Superman. He's unbeatable. He's the Man of Steel. Nobody can beat him. He's not going to believe that there's somebody out there who's getting it done. I believe both of these guys, and don't get me wrong, they're both heroic. Right? They're both heroic. But I believe these guys, if Tyson Fury comes in and the guy's just too damn fast, and Fury can't find him, and Fury can't hurt him, and Fury feels his legs start to go, I think you're going to have a Sonny Liston situation for the first Ali fight. I think you're going to have an Oscar De La Hoya situation for the Manny Pacquiao fight. Understand, you as a gambler don't care. Right? Once they wave off the fight, if you had a fighter by stoppage, your plane has landed. Right? So let me just say, I want folks to look at two fights. Both of them Fury fights. It's the rematch, right? The second fight with Deontay Wilder. Folks, Fury has no intention of outboxing Wilder in that fight. He's going for the stoppage from the opening bell. Let's talk about an interesting fight where there was a coordination gap, where Fury was slower and less coordinated than his opponent. That's the Steve Cunningham fight. Fury, who thought he couldn't be dropped by Cunningham, who was much lighter than Usyk is right now, right? Usyk's had several fights at heavyweight. Fury bum rushes Cunningham after he gets knocked down himself in the fight. Right? He bum rushes and starts roughhousing Steve Cunningham. I believe that's going to be a strategy here. Right? He might come out, he might try to get the lay of the land the first round. I believe eventually he's going to start to throw his weight around. Right? He's supposed to be heavy right now. I want people to figure out the Fury universe. Derek Chisora is a friend of his. Right? Derek Chisora talks in interviews about he thought he came up with the blueprint on how to beat Usyk. It's to pressure him. Right? It's to give him nowhere to go. Look at the first half of that Chisora Usyk fight. Folks, I would argue that's the best footage of a British heavyweight against Alexander Usyk. Understand there's another person in Fury's orbit. It's Martin Bakole. Right? Bacole's one of these fighters who everyone spars. No one wants to fight for real. He's too dangerous. Well, the reports have it that Bakole was cuffing around Usyk. Right? Just to understand. I am sure that Fury's hearing those reports and he's thinking, gee, maybe I need to throw around my size a little bit more. You know, we don't talk about, when we talk about sluggers, right? You know, George Foreman, right? Not a lot of people, you know, would say things like, oh, this opponent has a hand speed advantage on him. Doesn't matter. You know, Foreman was coming there for a stoppage. Right? You knew it was about power. Right? If Usyk moves better than Tyson Fury, Tyson Fury needs to be on him like Joe Louis was on Billy Conn for the rematch. Right? Understand, the first fight, Billy Conn's embarrassing Joe Louis. Right? An analogy can be drawn to these two guys. Right? Billy Conn, light heavyweight champion, smaller, more nimble than Joe Louis. Second fight, Louis leaves no doubt. I believe that's what Fury is aiming for. Now, the reverse side of the ledger is Usyk. Right? You've seen countless westerns, countless, where, you know, one gunslinger just wants a cold beer. Right? He just wants to be around people in a saloon and hear someone play the piano. He's not there for a shootout. But if there's a shootout, he's taking out his gun. If it's a shootout, the world's going to find out that he's a sharpshooter. I believe that's Alexander Usyk. I know he's been talking smack about this isn't going to be the Joshua rematch, right? I'm just telling you that if Fury tries to open up on Alexander Usyk, Usyk's going to fire back himself. After all, Usyk's the guy who knows he knocked down the other man. Right? So, let me just say this. I'm hesitant to take Usyk to win this fight. The odds just aren't there. Right? I hear Tyson Fury's the opponent, then I hear that I'm getting less than even money odds. I'm like, no, I'm going to look for other options. So Usyk to win, I don't like. Right? If it's a shootout, Usyk has a shot at a KO. Right? He was damn close the first time, folks. That's 14-5. Right? Let me just say this too. I don't believe Usyk goes for the KO. Unless he has to. Right? I don't buy the hype. I think he'd be very happy winning a decision, especially if it's a clear decision. But I need for people to understand what happens in fights like this, right? Steve Cunningham, cruiserweight, like Usyk. Usyk's seen the film, right? I have no doubt Usyk's looked at the film of all of the Deontay Wilder fights. That's the premier heavyweight series of our generation, in my eyes, right? Fury, Wilder. Right? So I believe in preparing for every possible outcome. I believe that Usyk, who hits harder than you think, right? You might remember him stopping Tony Bellew, right? I believe Usyk is one of these guys who will gladly take a decision. But if you're going to force him to throw straight lefts, if you're going to try to back him up like Derek Chisora did, and you think that that dynamic is going to hold, and the truth on Chisora is that everyone knew Chisora fades in fights, right? How many Chisora fights has there been, right? The Dillian White fight, the David Haye fight, where Chisora starts fast and then fades. Right? So, and Usyk could have been up against the ropes early thinking, this brother cannot keep this pace. I'll take over the second half of the fight. Here with Tyson Fury, there's too much risk involved, in part because Fury's a big man. In part because Fury has boxing skills. Right? So, let me just say this, and I know at least 50% of the comment section is going to say, Dwyer, you're crazy, and stuff like that. What else is new? Right? But, folks, a shootout's a distinct possibility in this fight. The must bet for me is Tyson Fury simply to win. I believe he's the betting side of the play. I'm also going to venture into the world of Usyk 14-5 to win by stoppage. Tyson Fury 7-2 to win by stoppage. Right? I don't believe we're going to have the kind of polite fight that we had in the Anthony Joshua rematch. Right? Understand, Joshua is not a risk taker by nature. Right? He's boxing's equivalent of Barack Obama. Right? He's not a risk taker. So, that second fight too, Joshua changed trainers. He had a new trainer, Robert Garcia. You could see him in the ring thinking as he's going through the fight. Right? I believe you're going to get a Tyson Fury here who's going to come out, who believes that for political reasons, the world's with his opponent. Right? Who feels that he hasn't gotten the respect he deserves, even from his own family. Right? Not his wife, but, dad and uncle. Right? So I believe Tyson Fury is going to come out, and folks, I think he's going to be on a mission to get a stoppage. Right? You can imagine how the phone calls went. Fury calls up his boy, Derek Chisora. It's like, hey, what should I do? Chisora would say, hey, didn't you see my fight? Didn't I show you the blueprint? Do you think for a second that Derek Chisora is going to tell him, hey, man, be on your back foot? Wait until the second half of the fight to start asserting yourselves. Don't back him up to the ropes. That's not going to happen. You can imagine the Martin Bacoli phone call. It's like, hey, Martin, what actually happened during your sparring sessions with him? Do you think Bacoli's going to say, I was up on my toes, I was dancing away from him, I was giving him angles? No, come on. These guys are both going to say, hey, man, I was in the pocket, I brought the heat. Right? He could even call up another guy. The reigning light heavyweight champion, Arthur Beterbiev. Right? Beterbiev in interviews has said he thought that Usyk was a little bit soft to the body. In other words, he's in the pocket. Look at the films. Right? There's a school of thought that you need to back him up. right? There's an interesting fight. It's Michael Hunter against Usyk. Hunter fades in the fight. But the first half of that fight is magnificent, folks. Right? And it's Hunter trying to get inside, being extremely awkward. It's designed awkwardness. And Usyk has problems. Right? So, my point to viewers here is the must bet is Tyson Fury. Simply to win. If you believe it's a well-behaved fight, then the over. Right? Because I don't think Usyk goes for the knockout unless pushed to do so. But let's not kid ourselves. Right? If Usyk hurts Fury like he did the first time, you're not going to have the rest of the fight roll out the way it did. Because I believe that, like Vladimir Klitschko against Anthony Joshua, Usyk thought it was a done deal. He was shocked. He was shocked to see Tyson Fury still up in the 10th, 11th rounds trying to bring heat. Right? Now that he knows that Fury can still, after a knockdown, get up and try to bring heat, he's going to return fire. After all, didn't he do just that against Daniel Dubois? Right, folks? That's a stoppage. Right? So, 7-2, Fury by stoppage. Usyk 14-5. Understand you only get these odds when the world disagrees with you. Right? Let's just understand that. So you're going to get laughed at talking about a stoppage after that AJ Usyk rematch. Right? Don't be surprised if this turns into a firefight relatively early. Those are my thoughts. Let me hear yours in the comment section of this YouTube video. Let me say this too. If you're satisfied with a plus 140, if you were lucky enough to get Fury at a plus 150 or higher, right? Some places, VBet, were offering him at 2-1 at one point. Right? Then great. You have the Fury side of the play already figured out. So then on the Usyk side of the play, you can take the over. So if Usyk wins by decision, you're good. And you could also sprinkle just a little on Usyk by stoppage. So if we get the rematch of Fury-Wilder, and if by the time the 5th round rolls along, you understand it's just a matter of time, you're covered. Those are my thoughts. Let me hear yours in the comment section of this YouTube video. You have leverage to play with here because, of course, the odds we're talking about, a plus 140, current odds on Fury, 7-2 and 14-5, right, allow you to take more mundane options, the over, some high total, 9.5 rounds to get money, more mundane options that are going off at close to even money. Those are my thoughts. I look forward to yours in the comment section of this YouTube video. I'm expecting a much livelier fight than the Usyk-Joshua rematch. Thanks for stopping by.